Welcome to my first screencast. This one is for Django on fixing broken migrations. Migrations are a new feature for Django 1.7. Before, if we modified a table, then we'd need to write our own SQL statements to alter the columns or delete them or add new columns, and that was quite a pain in the arse and required some good knowledge of how your database worked. Migrations take that pain away from us, but sometimes they go wrong, and under certain conditions it's very easy to trigger a problem. So we're going to look at how we can fix our database when we've gone in there and we've tried to fix the problem, but in fact we've just made it worse, and the database is not functional and the migrations can't be applied. So in fact what we need to do is remove our tables and basically start from scratch. But what we'd like to do is just remove the tables that relate to our application and leave the rest intact. Now, warning, all this stuff that I'm going to talk about isn't supported, which is a shame because there should be some technique of fixing our broken databases, but I can't find an official one. So, yeah, we need to come up with our own. Now, this is kind of hacky, and you don't really want to do this on a production server for obvious reasons. In case they're not obvious, migrations are applied to apps when you modify their models, or a app your app relies upon's models are also modified. So I can imagine there could be certain circumstances which I don't understand where this could cause some real issues down the line. So we don't want to do this for our production servers. So let's get on with figuring out how we can go about getting our database back into a usable state. So our first step is going to be to log into our database. We can use python manage.py db shell for that, and we're going to need to supply the password for our database login role when we do that. Then we're going to get the name of all of the tables which relate to the app we're trying to fix, and save that in another file. Then we're going to turn that into a script which is going to delete all the tables from the database, then run that script via the DB shell again, and then try to remigrate our app back into its sort of initial state from there, if at all possible. \d is the describe command in Postgres, and that lists everything out, but what we really want to do is get a list of tables. So use the \dt command to filter that out so we can get a good listing of all of the tables, and we can select the university tables from that listing. Copy the text you just selected and paste it into a new file which is going to contain the scripts for deleting the tables. So I'm going to use VI, but the movements and commands are a bit complex, so take a look at the script if you want to see what they are in detail. So basically I would do a block select to delete the first column of text where public bar is, and then define a macro to delete the end of the line from that point, moving down one line at the end of the macro before saving it. Now the really good trick with Vim, which is not often talked about, is how you can execute normal mode commands on every line, and that's what I'm going to do here. So with the macro saved, I'm then going to press colon to enter a X command and type in normal after I've selected the text I want to work, every line that I want this to work upon, and type in at A. A is where I recorded the macro, and at A would tell VI to run the macro stored in register A. So that will run that macro on every single line, and here you can see I'm creating a second macro, again recording it to register A, overwriting the last macro to transform a line into a database command where we're going to drop the table, and we're adding the cascade modifier so that any tables which which depend upon this table, are also going to get dropped as well, and that will avoid the script failing due to SQL errors. We can use the script we just created back in the SQL shell. To do that, we're just having a quick the help and determining that the command to execute commands from a file is \i. So \i, and then I've stored the database script in my home directory, so tilde, then the name of the file, and then enter, and then each of those commands will be executed in the shell and will drop all our tables. So now we've dropped our tables to our database, we'd like to be able to rerun our migrations, our make migrations, and then migrate our app. And let's see how that works. So it says no migrations detected at this stage, which is caused in fact by there being some old migrations from before in our migrations folder. So if we delete all of those, which should be the first step we do before running our migrations, but we could go back and delete them after we've run some migrations right now for what we're doing, then we can try and make our migrations again, and we'll find that we successfully create an initial migration file for this app, which is great. So now let's try and apply it to our database, and we find that it will not quite work. Well, why is that? What we need to do is log back into the database and have another look and see what we have there. Let's look at the table structure we have, and we find that we have this Django migrations table. If we look inside there, we're going to find that all of the migrations which have been applied are found there. So what we need to do is delete the migrations for our app from that table. So if we delete from Django migrations where app equals single quotes, remember, for SQL databases, university, semicolon, enter, then all records of migrations for our app will be deleted. So if we now go back to the shell, we'll find that we should be able to run our migrate university without any issue. And that indeed seems to be the case.